today's small art haul for May 2022, I got 2 clear Tombow markers and 3 wonderful M.graham watercolors. Quinacridone Rust PO48, Nickel Quinacridone Gold, which is a mix of PO48 and PY150, and the lovely Napels Yellow PBR24. I particularly enjoy the Napels Yellow, which I think is the strongest version of Napels Yellow, and I missed having it for a very long time, and now I'm very happy it's in my collection. In fact, I super enjoy all 3 of these colors, and I'm very happy I bought them. I'm going to do an art challenge using only these 3 colors on 25% cotton Fabriano hot press paper. Separately, after doing these swatches, I digitally created this painting. I used swatches of the colors to figure out all the colors digitally and worked from a reference of what I'd already done on a computer screen to do the final good copy traditionally. I also designed a species of butterfly for this picture. This is an Art Nouveau style and inspired piece, and I traced the line art off my iPad carefully by using some brown toned brush pens. I'm using some wet and wet techniques as well as some wet clean brushes in order to make sort of a halo effect. I'm also making sure to only wet the areas of the paper where I want the paint to flow and to not work in areas touching areas that are still wet. I take plenty of drying time between certain sections. It also should be noted that this video is very sped up. As you can see, I went outside of the area a little bit. In a couple spots where I know I'm covering with a darker color, I don't go through as much trouble to lift out the colors. I'm making sure to distribute the colors carefully based on the plans I'd already made. It's kind of doing the painting twice, digitally and traditionally, but it makes the traditional results better, and I'm ensuring that the contrast looks good and the colors aren't too samey going across the piece. I'm really trying to make sure there's enough contrast. I'm working quite thickly with some of these watercolors, more than most people prefer, but I prefer sometimes to use watercolors very thickly, and I like opaque colors. I like to mix watercolor and gouache and work in a way that I find comfortable. In order to get proper contrast, I also had to use up a fair bit of the pigment itself to use the paint in order to get, for example, the hair dark enough, as you'll see in a bit. In this area of the dress, I decided to add in more of the Quinacridone Rust color with some Napels Yellow mixed in as well, in order to make some color differentiation so the dress isn't all one color. Once again, I'm using also makeup brushes I got from the dollar store, which I very much advise you consider getting and using with watercolor and gouache. It's also good with acrylic paints. They're very soft and yet still springy. I take a smaller brush with a little bit of Quin Rust mixed in with the golden color I did in order to get the details on the dress. Sorry that this is a little blurry, it was focusing oddly, but I had to lean right in and get the fine details here. I decided to zoom in to cut out my head leaning over as well as to try to focus on the details, though the camera seems to be focusing in and out annoyingly. I have to get some of the fine details in this area. I also work on darkening up some areas and getting the details put in on the butterfly. I call it the Golden Azules butterfly, and not only did I draw and paint it digitally, but I also done a gouache painting on a separate gray sheet of paper for my main notes. For my main world of Vatar, it's going to be one of the animals there. I might as well use something like this for multi-purpose. To create a highlight on the back, I actually lifted out by re-wetting the back after stroking initially to make a highlight in it. As you can see, I'm working a bit wet and wet here with some softer brushes to get that glowing golden look in the butterfly wings. This is Napels Yellow on wet paper. I'm pulling the Nickel Quin Azo Gold into it. Actually, that section might have been mostly just Nickel Quin Azo Gold. This is mostly Quinacridone Rust as well, but I think I have a little bit of the other yellow mixed in. For the highlights in the hair, I painted them in first, as well as a bit of the fade that was slightly darker. After letting everything completely dry, I tried to take the darkest, thickest possible Quinacridone Rust to do the dark areas of the hair. This actually took a while, and I had to keep going in and layering up a bit. It ended up looking a little streaky, but in a way that was beneficial to the fact that it was hair, and I had to be careful about how I was stroking the brush so that it would look like it was flowing in the correct direction for the hair. I also did very thick Quinacridone Rust for the dark outline of the frame. In the end, I'm quite happy with it, although it's possible I'm going to go over the final one with a little bit of highlights and gouache. Here's the final painting in the sunlight with some rocks to weigh it down. It looks even better in the sunlight than in the indoor lighting. Once again, that's all for this video. If you like my videos, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to all notifications so you will know when a new video comes up. I aim for new videos every Wednesday, but sometimes life happens and things are delayed. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you with another one very soon.